Hello everyone, good evening. How's everyone doing? I apologise for the late start. I'm not feeling terribly fabulous, so I hope you're all feeling better than me. I feel like I have summer flu or something. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we're going to battle on and see what's going on here with Bitcoin. So, here we are, and we've had a pretty nice rally off the lows today. I'm just going to stop the echo. There we go. We've had a pretty nice rally off the lows for the last 5 days. We've had no Sunday sell-off, which was pretty exceptional. And we've pushed higher, which I wasn't expecting. To be honest, I thought that we would see a third drive. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I thought we would see like a third drive lower to this 50% level. Instead, what we're doing is we're still consolidating. So although I've drawn it as a channel, we could just as easily draw this as a wedge or triangle consolidation. We need to see how it plays out. One thing I am sure of, though, is that we're still owed one more leg lower. So the key question is, where is it going to happen from before this is over? At the moment, we've rallied back to the daily moving averages. We've rallied back to the daily 20 and the 50. When you're in a trend move, these moving averages are really important support and resistance, and when you come back to them, you almost always bounce off them at least the first time. And so here we can see in this rally, this 20 moving average, was really strong support. If we go back to 2017 and the big rally that we had, we can see how important this big daily 50 was and these pullbacks were. So here we are, but when you are when the moving averages are bunched up and they're flat and they're going sideways, you haven't got a trend, you've got a sideways range. That's what we've got here. And so they don't become so important. What becomes important is breaking out of the congestion you're in. And it's not until that we do that that we are going to start our next leg higher in Bitcoin. So again, I'm still thinking that we have a rally and we have one more leg lower, and we're owed a dip back to the 50% from this low to high, and that would be around 8,500, and that would also bring us back to the weekly 20 moving average, which is this pink moving average here. And I think this pink moving average is important because if we look at the previous bull markets that we've had in Bitcoin, every pullback that we have had has pulled back, and I'm going now to the 2015 low. Every weekly pullback was to this 20 moving average, and we rallied and up we went and up we went, and so until it was over, which was of course in January 2018. And so this is what I think that we should see again in this next bull run that we've begun in Bitcoin. So to be clear, we're still in sideways consolidation. This is consolidation and back in fill after a spectacular rally, and I'm not the least bit bearish. I don't think we're going anywhere near 3,000. I don't think we're going anywhere near 4,000. I think that this is a shallow pullback, and I think the lowest we'll probably go is 8,500, watching the way that we've behaved for now. So what does this mean for Bitcoin short term between now and when we next meet next week? Well, we could see a little setback here at these highs and these daily moving averages. If we put fib retrace levels on from this most recent swing that we've done, it's the 61.8. So if we did come back here, we'd likely come back to the 38.2 before the next leg higher if we did another leg higher, or we could just go to this 61.8 level. I haven't drawn it from the highs here, I've drawn it from here. If I put them on from the highs, you can see it kind of lines up with also the 50% from this high. So we've got a lot of confluence of fibs as well as daily resistance here. Let's make this a different color so you can see what I mean. Oops, I've done that wrong. Hold on. There we go. It's the 38.2 from this high, and it's the 50% from this high. So there's a lot of confluence of resistance just here, as well as these daily moving averages where we've paused at. So just going to put the next ones in. Sorry, I'm being thick tonight. Did I mention I'm not feeling 100%? I'm not feeling fabulous. So a lot of confluence of resistance, daily moving averages. We could very easily roll lower from this level and just carry on the downtrend. I'm not feeling it though in terms of momentum. I think that there is potential for us to rally all the way back to 11,300 and back maybe to this trend line after a pullback. We're not going to go in one. We will see pullbacks, and that's what I'd be looking for. Whenever you have a big daily candle like this, 50% of the open close is always a really good level to be looking for a pullback. So if you wanted to buy just for a short swing here, for another $500 higher, for example, then 50% of this open close, so somewhere around 10,600, I would be looking for a long entry in Bitcoin. So that's it, really. It's not terribly exciting, is it? But that's how I think it plays out. Now, in terms of timing, I'm still thinking that we're looking for a low somewhere around early September. And by then, as you know, I've just extended this 200 moving average and it's our rate of climb. I'm hoping that by then we will, if by the time we get here, we'll tag this 200 moving average, we'll all be ready to go again. So that would be, for me, like perfect scenario. And that would be the weekly 20 moving average as well. What about if I'm wrong? So what if you buy a little bit and Bitcoin just takes off and keeps going? Well, if that's the case and I'm wrong, then if we break this trend line, I would draw it down. So we've got 3 touches, and then this third touch is a false break. You know, I think above 1134 or above 11,500, that might be the case. And if we take out this high, we definitely are in a new uptrend. But for now, I think it's more likely that we've still got one more swing lower to come, and that's where I would be backing up the bus and borrowing money. And no, I'm joking about borrowing money, but that's where I would be looking for any spare pennies to buy Bitcoin. So that's where we are with Bitcoin, and we've got pretty similar bounces going on in other coins. One of the spectacular things we've seen today was, you know, when we started today, Ethereum was at the 200-day moving average, which was resistance, and we've pushed above it. So in this one as well, with 5 waves down, it looks like now that we're back above this 200 moving average, we're starting a bit of a correction. Ethereum is on a much different path to Bitcoin and in a much kind of different position in the cycle. If we look at our weekly moving averages for the last 6 weeks, we've been trapped in between the weekly 20 and 50 moving average in a kind of bullish position, getting ready really to go. We had a really nice pullback in terms of where would you want it to see back to the 61.8. We retested it with a false breakdown or a swing failure pattern here, and so now, you know, we're all set up for Ethereum to have a go at rallying from here. But only if we get above this 236 fib level and this weekly 20 moving average are we going to see some follow through. Otherwise, we're going to stay trapped in this zone for a couple of more weeks into September. And so that's going to be above 216 in Coinbase prices. So if we put ETH Tether at, say, Binance, we do the same exercise here. It's a bit messy chart. I'll better clean it up. So we go from this high to this low, and we look for where our 236 confirmation of a reversal, and above that weekly 20 moving average again. That's going to come in at 222. So 216 at Coinbase, 222 if you're trading Ethereum against Tether. At Binance above there, we are in a new upswing, and you know, most of our important moving averages would be underneath us, and we'd be looking pretty good. So potentially that's our bull bear line then for ETH if we're going to see a bigger move higher. Short term, how are we going to trade it until then? Well, you know, we just have to look for buying opportunities. So here, for example, on the hourly, remember on any time frame, for me, the 200 moving average is like the king of the trend charts. Here we are holding above it. If we can see a little dip back here, shallow dip back, and then we turn higher again and we hold the support from this moving average, I think it would be quite a nice long entry for ETH. So each one of these pullbacks, now that we're starting to, short term anyway, trend higher, would be good entries for ETH. And we're looking for that 216 or 222. I don't use the Ichimoku cloud personally, but I'm a big fan of it. I am a big fan of moving averages in general for trend. I find them really, really useful trend guides. And so, no, I don't personally use it, but I think it's a really good trading strategy or method. Okay, so that's where we are with ETH. We're just going to scoot through the majors. That's what was requested tonight. I've done them out of order. I apologise. I should have done Litecoin next. Now, Litecoin, how much pain has Litecoin been? You know, particularly with people, and I was one of them, thinking that we would see more of a rally with the halvening. But of course, the comments from Charlie Lee haven't helped this week. They've all been pretty bearish for Litecoin. What's been interesting is that since those comments have come out, Litecoin hasn't really gone down. In fact, it's stopped going down. And so I'm kind of one of those people, old-fashioned people, that think when a market does stop going on down on bad news, perhaps we are approaching a point where it's all priced in and we may see a rally. At the moment, when I look at Litecoin against dollar, there's no sign of it. We've stopped going down, but we're trading sideways, and there's nothing to do until, you know, we see whether we find our feet here and we're going to head higher. If you put a gun to my head, I'm going to say we continue lower. One of the reasons is we didn't quite tag my 61.8 fib pullback level, which is at 69.47. And the other one is that, you know, last swings or last moves in a move tend to be, or very often, are 5 waves. And so far here, I can only count 3. Look, 1, 2, 3. So this feels like choppy overlapping wave 4, and I'd be looking here for one more in Litecoin, tested this low, and then see if we can hold this 69.47 level. Now 61.8 and 38.2 fibs are very messy. We could very easily go quite a long way underneath this and still kind of hold the level, so just be aware of that. If we look at Litecoin against Bitcoin, so that's why I'm seeing Litecoin dollar, Litecoin against Bitcoin. This one's a little bit more, you know, hopeful, in that we are in the area of previous lows, haven't quite tagged them yet either, but potentially in an area of support, and we have stopped going down. We are trading sideways, potentially, if you like, potentially a double bottom here, only if we break the high. So when you have a double bottom, as it looks here, like this, you know, it's not a reversal pattern until you break the high on the other side, and then you go twice that distance. Until then, it's just a sort of sideways consolidation. And again, with this one, our support level, or the previous low, is a little bit lower, and I haven't got fib levels marked in this one, but I have been measuring the swings, and I have to say that I think if we lose these lows, I wouldn't be long Litecoin. I think that we could do a big ABC correction here, which would end up around, yeah, you don't want to know from where we are now. It's a long way down, a long way down. And if we let's go to the weekly in terms of this importance of the lows that we're at, you know, because we've really only got this weekly spike. You know, all of the kind of solid lows are here. So this is like really very, very important support. You know, if we got underneath here and got rejected, we're at 7,000 at the moment. I would not be surprised to see a retest towards the bottom of this spike low. So do or die time for Litecoin. So we need to be watching the price action closely. At the moment, clearly we're not collapsing, but yeah, if you've got a bag of this, don't ride it all the way down. Pile in the shorts in Litecoin. This is just Litecoin against Bitcoin, remember? It doesn't mean that Litecoin is going to lose that much in terms of necessarily in fiat value. It just means that Bitcoin is going to massively outperform it. And so why would you be in Litecoin? You know, you may as well be in Bitcoin. That's all, you know. We should keep some perspective here. It's not, you know, it's a very different chart when we look at Litecoin US dollar, isn't it? On the other hand, Miguel says, on the other hand, with the proper stop, it's a really low risk, isn't it? Because your stop is really small, and you know where you're wrong. Yeah, very, very true. Very true. So that's where we are with Litecoin. The next one we're going to look at is ADA. How tricky has ADA been? I'm going to zoom out to this weekly chart in ADA, because here we are trading at new lows, and whenever you're trading at new lows like this, I'm going to put regular candles on, especially a big deal one like this, it becomes resistance. That becomes like your really bull bear line that you've got to recover if we're going to go up again, and it can get a little bit tricky. So that level, 570 ADA Bitcoin, is where we're looking to recover on our rally. So now, as we're kind of squeaking our way off the lows, and we've got a rally and a pullback and a higher low, now we need a higher high. We need to break this 20 moving average, and that's where we're going to look to go back to see if we can break above it. It's also the daily 50, so quite a lot of confluence around that level, 565 level. So if you are taking counter trend longs, or if you're looking at counter trend longs, make sure that you tighten up when we get to 565. If we go look lower time frames, so for example, let's look at our 4-hour chart and see what we're doing here. We're really not doing very much, we're just going sideways. So we've had our rally and now our pullback, and we're looking for one more swing. Yeah, and I guess a break from this sideways consolidation will tell us which way next. The good thing about this is, when you're going sideways with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's had a bit of a rally, then the value of your ADA, even if it doesn't look like it's going anywhere, is going up. But that 565 level will be 565, 570 will be really, really important in ADA Bitcoin. So a break higher, watch for resistance there, and then above there that holds support. Then I think we can talk about a bigger pattern, something like this, and then a big head and shoulders pattern here. Then I think that we might have something that we can lean against. So Duarte says every trader is calling for an 8,500 bottom. You fear that we go lower. Right. I fear that we go higher first and shake people out of their shorts before we go there. But let's see. I think if we don't hold 8,500 in Bitcoin, we're going to see that 7,500, 7,200 level. And in fact, let's get a Bitstamp chart up. I'll go back to Bitcoin and then we'll go back to ADA. Let's look at my Bitstamp chart. Okay, let's have a bit of a tidy up here, because I'm just going to go to log scale. We'll pop it in. Okay, so if we put our fibs on from the low in 2015, like this, and we're just going to fill these in. Okay, now normally, see how we're kind of, for me, I think we're riffing in between these fib levels pretty smartly. And I think that this big 50% level in the middle, which is also big support and resistance through the middle here, is a level. And if we lose this, it's not 8,500 that we should be looking for. I think we pull back to 7,400. And there's another reason for that 7,400. If I take that off and we go this way, from these highs to the lows, then we've reversed to the 618. We're sitting on the 38.2 support, and if you lose that 38.2, then you're going to go down here to this 236 fib level. So down here, and that's at 7,000. And so Bitcoin does like to overshoot. So you know, when we draw our fibs this way, there is no 8,500 to catch us level to catch us in the middle here. And that is, you know, if we lose this level, that is where we go next. So it could be that we come down to 7,000, 7,400. I wouldn't buy 8,500 blind. And you know what Bitcoin loves to do? It loves to spike down and then bounce all the way back again. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we did that and we spiked all the way down to 7,000 and then closed above 8,500, having shaken out all those people that tried to buy it there. Lisa, does that scam wick that just happened mean anything? No, but it is quite interesting that markets are not going down on scam news anymore. So, yeah, we could just wick it and shoot up again. So, exactly. So that's where I see with Bitcoin. So ADA, let's go back to ADA dollar. So if we still think that might happen with Bitcoin, we do really need to be quite careful, you know, with these altcoins. Really careful with these altcoins, because it is quite unlikely that we're going to see a proper low when Bitcoin hasn't made a proper low yet. However, I will say about ADA Tether, this 786 fib level that we've bounced off, I would really like to see this hold up on a retest here. I think it's a great level in terms of fibs. It would give us a really clear target. If we made a low here, we would then be looking for the 38.2. If we can bounce from here and back through these fib levels. So as you know, at the moment, we're still in a downtrend, ADA Tether. But a retest of these lows, or 4416, 0.04416 in ADA Tether would be, if we could double bottom, make a bit of a base here, this would be a really good level to do it from. So at the moment, just a bounce and a downtrend, no, not enough to make me want to buy it yet. But the retest is the test. So let's see what happens when we do that and if we can get something going on here. Okay, so that's ADA. Ripple. Now, Ripple has for sure come back to a very interesting level. So we talked before about Litecoin being on a really interesting level where we could find some support. When we look at Litecoin against Bitcoin, I've got my fib from this low to high here. And the reason I've done that is because when you draw your fibs, you're always looking to see which levels worked, and you play around, and this first swing, these levels, whether I draw it from here or if I move it to this spike high here, these are where the levels seem to be working best for all of the other fibs. And so I'm leaving it here for now, and we're doing this as a pullback. Okay, and I'm actually going to stick with this one, but actually it doesn't matter. We'll do it from the high because it looks better. Okay. And so here we are, either way we drew it, at potentially a 786 fib. We saw a pretty decent rally from the 61.8, 38.2, and so on. And so potentially we could make a base here and rally if we could, again, recover that 20 moving average and break out of this sideways range that we're stuck in Ripple Bitcoin. And I'll show you in a minute in Ripple Tether why I really kind of like us to do that. So here, when I draw it like this is a bit unfortunate because this has the look of a wick, of a wedge or a triangle pattern, which you very often breaks with the trend. So unless it actually breaks to the upside, I'm going to wait and see that we don't see one more push lower or one more breakdown. And if we do, we're going to need to draw in that 886 fib level. That would be our next support down here at 1419. So remember, this is Ripple against Bitcoin, so that could come with a big rally in Bitcoin. Because if we look at Ripple Tether, just like Litecoin, we're on a really big deal of a level here. Let's go to the daily, and we'll zoom out. And you can see from way back in August 2018, we are retesting the all-time lows. This is Ripple Tether at Binance, but if I do Ripple dollar at Bitstamp, now you can see this is also a really big level from these lows here in 2018. So I've got a very messy chart here. I need to do a bit of cleanup. Let's get rid of all of these. And we'll just move this. So there we go. There's our support level. Here's our swing failure pattern at this support level at 0.2480. Is it the all-time lows? It's not, no, but it is a pretty good support level, and we have seen a pretty decent reaction from it. And we could also say that we've probably got 5 ways down here in Ripple as well. So again, if we can go more than the 236 fib, which is the high where we are today, or this 20 moving average, then that will count as a bullish reversal from this level. So far, first attempt we've gotten rejected, but that's what we've got to get above for us to reverse the trend in Ripple above 0.2910. If we lose these lows, obviously, so 2910, 0.2910, that's our trend reversal level. Now we're going to this was a really quite decent move, so we should be looking for a lower high, a pullback, a double bottom, some kind of a base or a retest of this level, and see if we can do it. So maybe it's a bottom. The retest will tell us. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly on this one, because if we don't, so if you're looking, here's this level that we're looking at. If it doesn't hold, 0.15 and these previous lows are where I think we go next. You see, we're just at the top of this congestion here. I think we go back to the bottom of it, and that would be 0.15055 if we lose these lows. So be careful. Like, if you're buying against the level and it fails, don't stay in it. What would a failure look like? Well, here's an hourly chart. See how when we got down to this level before, there's not even an hourly close underneath it? Well, if we come all the way back down and we retest these lows and we get underneath, and then you see something like that and people dumping there, that's failed. Time to get out, step aside. It's not working. And then back up the track at 0.1505. So potentially a good bottom, but it's only a bottom if we can get above 0.2910 in Ripple dollar. That's Ripple US dollar at Bitstamp, and if we're looking for that same price in Ripple at Binance. Okay, so we're just going to look for the 236 fib from this high and this 20 moving average, so we just draw it like this. And at Binance, that level is actually 0.3048. So, hello, Abel Seaman, welcome back. So we're trying to see if we can hold these lows in Ripple. Okay, so it's only a maybe bottom. Again, remember, there's always a retest, especially in Ripple. Look, I bet here people went, oh, I wonder if this is the low. And then you got the retest, low and then a higher low. Even here, took a while, but there's always a retest. So next one we'll look at is Bitcoin Cash SV. So no haters here, please. If that's okay. We're going to look at it. Let's start with the dollar, because we've had this lovely declining wedge. We've had a really nice pullback. I'm going to take my fibs away going higher, because we'll look at the big fib in terms of these big high to low range that we're in. So this was a 618382 pullback. And when you do that, the big 50% level in the middle, that becomes your big pivot level. And if we look under the hood here in this congestion, it's quite a strong support and resistance level. So if we are going to do that 618382 kind of thing, golden ratio zone, then this 50% level here in the middle at 149.79 is going to be our pivot that we need to get above. And you can see here on the daily that it's been a little bit of a sticky level. If we go down a time frame, we can see on the 4 hour it's been a bit of a sticky level. Highs, 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 couldn't close above it, and so on. And so that's also where our 4 hour 200 moving average is. So I think we're looking good for a rally in Bitcoin Cash SV. I think that this we've had one swing higher and this really nice overlapping pullback and we're looking for another swing higher. This is a bit of a false breakout, but this horizontal level, 150, let's call it 150. It's 149.49, but 150 is what we've got to get above for us to really motor higher. And if we don't, if we just rally up here and then we get rejected here again, then I'm afraid it's not happening, and we're still this sort of gradual decline is going to continue, and we need to look for more evidence of a bottom. So that's how I'm seeing Bitcoin Cash SV. I think we'll fly above 150, and if I go to the daily, that would put us above the daily 20. But because it's this, because we've done a big ABC down, we'd be looking for a B leg, ABC up, okay? And so we'll measure. If we go from this low to this high, and this was our low, our first target then becomes 174. That's where this swing is 61.8 of the first leg. But our second target takes us up to this 786 fib and would make it a Gartley pattern. And so we'd be looking for between 205 and 209 as a target, which is not bad when you consider, you know, we're looking, you know, that's a pretty nice return, 30%, isn't it? If we're looking for a move above 150 to give us a target of 205 to 209, that's a pretty nice trade. But this is definitely the level that we need to get above if we're going to go there. So, and this one, because everybody hates it, remember, it gets really squeezy. Everyone will hate it, so it will go up even more. That's just kind of one of those rules. Okay, I'm going to move on. Let's talk about, so that's Bitcoin Cash, dollar. I haven't mentioned Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, but I will. Because we've got a similar situation here, where we've got our daily 20 moving average right here. And again, we're going to look for, we've had one rally, pull back, and we're going to look for another big one, hopefully. If we can get above that 20 moving average, so if we measure from this low and put our targets in, we can say that our targets would be up here at 0.016 and then 0.0187. But 0.016 will be trickier. I think it'll be that one because it's the 200 moving average there, and we had a big reversal. So we're basically looking for a bounce back to the 200 moving average. If we can break above the daily 20 here and start another run high here on the hourly, you can see we're just making a base. When I look at a pattern like this, I look at it and I say, you know, if we can't get more than 50% of the drop, then we're not going up. And it's amazing how often that 50% level is the problem. And here, from this high to the low, there, sure enough, that 50% level is the problem. So if we want to know, how will we know if we're going higher in Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin? We've got to get above that 50% of the drop. Otherwise, we're still going lower and so close above it. So that's what I'd be looking for in Bitcoin Cash SV against Bitcoin. And then, of course, that first target back to the daily 200 moving average up here at 0.0158. Okay. Next one requested is one we haven't looked at before. It's called Contentos. It's a new one at Binance, as in it hasn't been around for very long. New one this month. So I put the big fibs on from the drop. Okay, that says if we can rally here, we should be looking for about 500. The round number 500, 488 would make us a big ABC, but that's not really happening. In fact, what tends to happen with new coins like this is you tend to kind of go sideways for quite a long time while you find your feet, and I think that's what we're seeing in this one. I really don't have enough data yet for a bit of a trend. If you put a gun to my head, I would say whatever we've done here, this looks like we've got another swing lower, and if we're like, they seem to have a bit of a relationship. So for example here, this swing was 61.8 of that swing. So if we do the same thing going lower here, I just play with patterns, then we would come back down to 222 like this, and then we'll make a tighter and tighter wedge, if you like. So we'll come down to 222 and we'll do something like this until a narrower and narrower range until we, in other words, until we get a breakout. So that's what I'd be watching for. I can't tell you any more about this until then, but we'll maybe take another look next week and see if we've got anything setting up. So Contentos, nothing yet. COS, sorry, not technically anyway. Needs to find its feet. Theta. Theta's been one it's been really nice trading in this coin. So we've been doing it in our group quite a lot. It had a really good, great level off a rally off the lows. Our target is up here. If we zoom out in Theta, if we are going to have a really nice bounce, then our target is up here at the 200-day moving average and the 236 fib retrace from this high to low up here at 1923. So what we really are hoping for is that we kind of get moving. It's been tricky so far. Now, if we're going to do a harmonic pattern or something like this, where did this rally stop? Again, from this high to the low, this was a 50%. Twice we tested this 50% level, couldn't get beyond it. 1416. And so until we do, we're kind of bimbling around in the lower bit, trying to find our feet in a sideways range. We've got 2 touches on the bottom, we've got 2 touches on the top, we've got flat moving averages. So you have to be a little bit careful how you trade inside its range when it's like this, because it really could go either way. It looks quite bullish here, doesn't it? But this could just be an ABC. We'll stop at the 200 moving average and we're going to continue our journey down here, you know, to the bottom before we turn up again. So I'm going to keep applying that 50% rule, which is where we stopped today, and say that if we can't get beyond that, we're probably going to do one more. And I would back up the truck down here if we can find our feet at the bottom. Above 1190, I think, yes, good chance we're on our way back up again. So there. So this is not an exact ABC, but that is an exact 50%, and a little bit of a concern because of that. And I forgot Link. Oh no, I forgot Link. I'm going to go back. Okay. So Theta token, I'm being very cautious. I will go step by step. I think 1190 could be resistance, but if we pushed above it, I would buy against it because that 50%. And if we do, we'll go back to the top of the range at 1420 and look for our breakout to our upside target. But otherwise, I'm afraid I think that the path of least resistance is going to look like this. So there we go. Let's take a look at Link. Just have a quick drink too. Okay. Very messy chart day. Okay. So when I put Link in and I drew Link and I looked at this, you know, this 236 fib level was major resistance, and for 4 days here until Saturday, I didn't think we were going to get above it, and it's at 23,000. And now we have, but we've still got the problem of this daily 50 moving average. And the problem with that is that you can tend to go back and forward in between it. And so although we're holding above what was previously resistance, now support at this level at 23,000, I think that there's still a possibility that we could still do a bit of this. And in fact, what I would quite like to see here would be a if we fail, because we are at the moment failing to make new highs, if we did then, and we do break down here, which we could, because we've got this wedge pattern. Let me hide these. Okay. Just going to hide those moving averages for a minute. Here we've got this wedge pattern. If this breaks down rather than higher, which we're hoping for a long entry from this, but instead if it breaks down, what I would really like to see here is a bigger inverted head and shoulders pattern. Something like this, come back 50%, and then we've got a left shoulder, big head, right shoulder, and then, you know, we can talk about making a bit of a bottom here in Link. And I would favor that pattern just because, you know, is it really going to take off before Bitcoin has made a bottom and turned higher again? You know, we've seen Link do the opposite sometimes. Let's see. So that's the 4 hour. I'm watching this 4 hour wedge in Link Bitcoin. If it breaks to the upside, happy days. If it stays flat and Bitcoin's going up, that's fine. The value of your Link is going up. But if this wedge breaks down, I would step aside and wait for a 50% pullback. And so that would be around 21,275, something like that. Okay. If we look at Link Dollar will be a much happier chart because thanks to the move or Link Tether, it is. You can see we're up here at highs, but we're still in sideways consolidation, aren't we? And here's our daily. Our daily moving averages are still the wrong way round. We've got 2 touches on the bottom, 2 touches on the top, and we're stuck in the middle. So trying to make a base and go higher. And so until we break out, at this point, honestly, we could go either way, I have to say. I think we could go either way. A close above the daily 50, jump in, because that will be a very good sign. But not much to do until then, I'm afraid, in Link. It's not bad, it's not going down, but we need it to start going up again soon. Okay, so we've done Theta. Now we're going to do WTC, Walton. Now, Walton, hopefully, this is Walton against Tether. Hopefully, we've got a bit of a breakout here. I keep putting hurdles in for it and it keeps overcoming them. And then this low was a bit of a hurdle and we've overcome it. And this 38.2 fib wasn't really a hurdle. In fact, it's not really respecting it. So I'm going to take these fib levels away and instead I'm going to draw them from this big high here. Because really then we should be looking for the 236 from this big high as well as the other high. And that's a little bit higher from here at the daily 200 moving average. So somewhere between these two is going to be where our target is and that daily 20 moving average. Now that we are above the daily 50, this is a really bullish move for Walton. This is where our support comes in now, these previous highs and the daily 50. If we're going to stay in an uptrend, we should not go back below this daily 50 now. And 50% of this big green breakout candle. So let's just see what price those highs are. 1.458 in Walton US dollar. So we're looking for 1.458 to be support, and we're going to keep going higher to 1.688 on this hourly. No surprise, that's where the hourly 200 moving average is as well. So that's our support that we're looking for a pullback to. Next turn higher, that's it. Up, we should go higher from here in Waltonchain Tether. So if we're going to look at Walton Bitcoin, so we're bullish Walton Tether. Walton Bitcoin on the daily. I'm going to take this away. Hold on. This is what we call a bat pattern, and this 886 fib level. I'm looking for a rally here, from here, and when you rally from an 886 fib level, your target is back to the 50%. So this is our target for a long entry in Walton Bitcoin, first target, and it's at 1987 Walton Bitcoin. If we can break out from this wedge pattern that we're in, and here's how it looks here. And the reason I'm not raving about it and going, come on, let's go, is very often, you know, when you see this in a trend which this is in, it's in a trend, they very often break lower, not higher. So I would only get excited about Walton Bitcoin if it did actually break out and go higher from here, because I think it could just as easily end up being a swine nut. So A, B, C, D, E, and then lower. So wait. So we need to be a bit careful. So that's what I'm watching for in Walton. If we do break out, happy days. Our target is 1987. But if it doesn't and it breaks down, path of least resistance in Walton is lower. And retest to that would mean a retest to the lows and potentially new lows, you know, in Walton. Yeah, a retest to the lows, but I don't know where that comes from. From there. We've got the lows from way back when all the way down here, haven't we? So we need to be a little bit careful. So, I mean, there is lots to like. I don't think we can count this. Just let me check one thing. Oh yeah, we can. This could be 5 waves down, and because this middle wave can't be the shortest, you know, we could actually rally from here and we could be done. Yeah, we just have to wait and see. That's what I'm watching for anyway in Walton. Look out below if that level breaks. So 1329, a daily close below 1329 would be very bearish. So Nano's the next request. Nano. Well, so we've had a bit of a loss of support and still in a downtrend in Nano Bitcoin. I can't see any reason to buy it, and the next fib support, that is maybe support for me, comes in down here at 698, 700 area. So 698, 700. Does it look like we have stopped going down here? Yes, temporarily. But we haven't managed to recover any of these daily moving averages, and it still looks really bearish to me. So I'm not tempted at all by Nano. Now, what would make me wrong or make this, you know, that 236 thing? If I draw that from this high to low in this swing, see how on the daily we couldn't close above it? If we had, that would say that a bigger move higher was underway. So if we did say not make a new low, find our support 50% back and turn higher here, a close above 1013 would suggest that Nano is going higher. But at the moment, not interesting. Slowed down, but hasn't reversed the trend, and potentially could just continue lower at any time. So Nano Bitcoin, still a little bit scary for me. Let's take a quick look at it against the dollar or against Tether and see, because you know that, remember, that just means Bitcoin's doing really well. And okay, so if we look at Nano against Tether, remember, corrections are normally 3 waves. So we've had this big rally off the low that went to 50%. 50% usually tells you it's corrective. And it looks like it's trying to make a higher low. If it did turn higher here, and if it did make a higher low, we'll do that 236 thing. So that would be above 0.109. If we traded above 0.109, we would be in another swing higher. If we measure it like this, we could see 1.342. So if you've got some Nano and you wanted to get out, you know, or we could even go to 1.56, maybe the 61.8. But this 1.342, I think, would be for sure where we go if we get back above the 20 moving average. But otherwise, you know, We could go all the way down, do one of those, you know, double bottom things in Nano. So not a buy or interesting for me at the moment. I keep watching it though. Okay, so that's Nano. Next one is Leo. Nobody asked for Leo, but I included Leo because I quite like there aren't very many charts I like, to be honest, at the moment. But this is one of them. This is Leo. This is Leo Bitcoin. So remember, when you are looking at the last swing lower, you're always looking for a market to close more than 50%, because that tells you that it's going to go higher. And we've done that. We've closed that little bit more, and we're sideways in between these daily moving averages in Leo. So whenever it does that, I'm thinking maybe. So I think that Leo maybe could be setting up a breakout above 12,825 Leo Bitcoin, and above this daily 50 moving average is what I would be looking for. And then my target is the big 236 fib up here next at 14,839. At the moment, not much going on, but when you consider that most charts look in solid downtrends, this one, it does look like it maybe is trying to make a base and rally from here. So again, above this sort of 12,880, 12,890, I quite like Leo for another push higher and see what we can do up here at 14,839. Then we'd be above all of our daily moving averages. We would have completed what looks like a big correction to me, and looking for a new upswing. And then I would put, instead of my fibs this way, I'd be looking for the bigger ones, and 50% of the entire drop, which would take us back to these highs, and 23,839. So Leo may be pretty close to that 50 moving average. That's what I would like to see. I didn't see Leo on the list. I didn't see you ask for it, Jonathan, but I've got it here anyway, because I still like the chart, so lucky. Nick, I should introduce a siren for the shitcoin, please. I know, for shitcoins unknown. I haven't been asked for any for ages. I think the market's beating people down. You know, this correction, we always thought that there would be a correction in July, didn't we? But you know, it's extending into August, and I really do think, like, if you've been working really hard, if you've had your nose in the crypto all year and you really feel like you need a holiday, seriously, this is the time to take it. Between now and the sort of second week of September, take some time off, recharge your batteries. I really don't think that crypto is going to start a massive big bull run without you, and I think that you will be mentally in much better shape to trade into year end if you did take some time off, away from the screens. I really feel that strongly. So let's take a look at Leo US dollar before we carry on. Okay, so again, I'm going to put regular candles on, because we've had a marginal new low and we've recovered, but we've really got this sideways range. So irrespective of our, let's put our 786 fib on. You don't very often see this at a 786 fib. I'm going to tell you that they're pretty sharp fib levels. You don't tend to break them. You tend to behave like we did here. So this closing underneath and then recovering it again is a weird bit of a shakeout thing. I haven't seen it before. In terms of fib rules, that doesn't very often happen. The 786 fib, I would say, is pretty sharp. Now, in terms of our daily moving averages in Leo dollar, they're lining up with the fib level. So our fib resistance next is at 1.38 in this US dollar. But we've got a little bit of horizontal support and resistance ahead of there at 1.356. But I think it's looking really good. Yesterday was our first close back above the 20 moving average. since we broke it, which was back in June. So, you know, first time back above the daily 20 moving average. It's looking pretty positive for higher from here. And we know, you know, when you reverse it to 786 fib, your target is, first target for sure is the 38.2. So we can say if we get above this 50%, for sure our first target is 1.62 here in Leo, and potentially higher. Okay, if we measure this swing here like this, and we project it from here, if this is this correction, we can go to the 236 fib, and that should line up there together, and that gives us a second target of 1.77. So 1.62, then 1.77, if we can break out of this horizontal range in Leo US dollar. Okay, yeah, you can get really bipolar. Listen, we can all become a bit bipolar looking at the markets, and we don't become very nice people, and we don't eat very well, and we become a little bit too inactive, and, you know, the summer won't be around much longer. I really do think it would be a good time to take a few days off. I really feel that. So, and I need to take my own advice sometimes. Okay, finally, we're going to look at Matic. We should really actually, there's a synthetics is one that I think might be breaking out today. And I'm going to look at dusk as well before I go. So Matic, looking pretty good here. We've had 1, 2, 3, third touch false breakout of our trend line. This fourth time, it should break out for real, and we should see next leg higher continuing in Matic Bitcoin. So this is a 4-hour chart. When I have a setup like this on a 4-hour chart, I tend to like to look at it on a 15-minute just to make sure it's really working. So from this breakout, our first resistance is at 196 Matic Bitcoin, and if we get above 196, our target is 327. It's got a good look of bottoming. I like how we've held this for our 200 moving average. I like how this is above all of our daily moving averages, and looking all set really if we can break out. So by watching this on a 15-minute, this is what I mean. I'm just going to put my Heikenhashi on. So see here with our little false breakout. This is, I want to see a proper breakout, and then if it's going to hold, it's going to hold on a pullback, and that's where I buy it. Okay, I want to see it break out and say, I'm really going up. It's support. So Matic, that's what I'm looking for. Those are the targets. I think Matic looks very good for that, if we can break out from here. We could, the worst thing that could happen in Matic is that we don't, or that we fail to make new highs. When you break out from a wedge consolidation pattern like this, sometimes you don't make a new high or a new low, and then you're just in sideways consolidation for a bit longer. So that's always the trouble area or trouble level, previous high. Watch out for that. Yeah, dusk I was going to talk about. It's breaking the support. No. Okay, I'm not going to leave dusk. I pulled back to a level where I thought we might find some support, and it doesn't look like it's going to do it, so I'm going to leave it. The other one I keep watching to see if we're going to turn higher is BNB, and that's not happening either, so pretty depressing really. Some funky other coins have done things. For example, MadeSafe. I got quite excited about MadeSafe. Above all of our daily moving averages, made a slightly new high here. So, and you know, bullish cross of our daily moving averages. So potentially, this is right at a level where MadeSafe could find some support, and this previous low as well. So I suppose if there was one I was watching, this might be one of them. But, you know, it's all a bit meh and sideways at the moment. I'd really like to see that strong turn before I get excited about that one. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for coming. Next week is a bank holiday in the UK, and I will do the live. But the one after that is the US bank holiday and Labor Day, and there won't be one. So, see you next week. One looks good, does it? Let's see. Baba. Where is one? I had one around here. Let's take a look. Yeah, it does look good, doesn't it? Especially if we draw this as horizontal. Here's our horizontal resistance. So from this high here, across, and we can actually take it across to here, look. Comes from there. So there's our level to beat in one. And what we're doing is we're making a very nice base here. Yeah. Now, you can't, it's quite hard to buy into that kind of resistance level, but you can watch it and see if we pop it and buy it above a support, or you can buy a pullback against it here like this and see if we break it. You know where you're wrong, and you know where the level is. So yeah, one does look very good. Looks like it's building a very nice bottom. Let me make this level. There we go. Yeah, it does have a good look. I agree with about one. That day, you know, above that daily 50, we should fly. So if we do that, then we say hi. Like here's our target. Not feeling the red today. 154 would be the first sort of Fibonacci resistance, if you like. 154. So good look, yeah. Lots of room. That one will not recover, Abel Seaman says. Okay. Jonathan says it might be worth mentioning that Litecoin has front run all the drops recently and could be doing it right now, so trade carefully. Will BNB go higher? Yes, I believe it will. I think it's just a timing thing. Yeah. Gonna go to my weekly. Okay, so here's a Binance against Bitcoin weekly chart. So we've gone all the way from the lows back in 17 to the highs. We've had a lovely pullback, perfect pullback to the 50% level on the weekly. 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a weekly swing failure pattern at this 50% pullback level. We haven't closed underneath the weekly 50. And I think after this perfect ABC correction, look, we had two very nice equal swings lower into this level. So ABC, bullish ABC, back to the 50% is usually a really good long setup. The problem is timing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to build a base here. And as you can see, we've already spent 6 weeks going sideways here since we tagged this ideal level, building our base. So on the week, that's how we look on the weekly. So here we are on the daily. And so I just keep watching it. I don't know. Maybe we need to do this again and retest it. And we still haven't flipped our moving averages on the daily bullish. And maybe we need to do something like that to do it. But yeah, that's why I like BNB Bitcoin. That's why I'm watching it. Because of that big, you know, ABC 50% pullback level. So this next dip I'm watching to see what happens. And if we can flip the daily moving averages bullish and make a bit of a base here, that would be great, wouldn't it? So that's why I keep looking at it. Yeah, you know, and there's not many altcoin charts that you can look at that they've only pulled back 50% against Bitcoin. Most of them are down here like 90% or new lows, aren't they? So this is quite a good look, really. So, okay, so that's it. Good night, everybody. See you next week. Trade carefully. Be careful. Yes, I do think Bitcoin will squeeze higher, but I don't think it's the new. I think it's to squeeze everybody who's bearish, but I don't think it's a new uptrend. But I'm open to being wrong. If we break out from this trend line, I'm wrong. We'll all get in. Okay? Good night.